Hey Stampers, welcome to Brandy's Cards. So today I've got a great card for you out of the Spring 2016 catalog. It's also called our Occasions catalog, and most of my customers have received their Spring and Celebration catalogs already. And if you haven't, well, just let me know, send me an email. Sometimes that bulk mailing gets a little crazy on me, and well, you know, they sometimes just don't make it. So just send me an email, let me know, and I'll get one in the mail to you right away. So check out the Handmade from the Heart. This is what I call the Spring catalog, and Stampin' Up calls it the Occasions. It started on January 5th, and it's running through May 31st. Catalog is fantastic if you haven't had the opportunity to take a look at it. We've got lots of new bundles in here, lots of spring products. I am big on flowers and butterflies and lots of bright colors, so I'm really excited about that. So if you take a look here, we're going to go to page 20, I think it's on page 22. There we go. We're going to use this stamp set. It's called Grateful Bunch. Now, I love this stamp set. I recently designed 4 cards with this stamp set for a swap. Really excited to be a part of the Creative 8 team, and so I swapped my cards with them. So I was really excited to share them with you and with some of my peers. So you'll take a look at this stamp set. It's got some great flowers in there. I love the butterfly and the leaves. Now, the cool thing about this stamp set is it coordinates with the Blossom Bunch Punch. So try to say that 10 times, the Blossom Punch Bunch, something like that. And this is it here. I love this punch. We did have something similar a while back, but I believe this little guy is a little bit different. So anyway, this flower punch does go in a bundle with the Grateful Bunch stamp set. So it's really, really cool. So today's card, the inspiration came from the fact that my family is watching the playoffs, the Carolina Panther playoffs right now. It's a beautiful sunshiny day here in Charlotte, so I am feeling some Panther blue here today. So go Panthers! Okay, so really excited about it, as my family is, full of boys. So today's card here, I've got one right here as well. So check this out. This is the flower from the punch, the Blossom Bunch Punch. And you'll see I just kind of stamped it all down here. I'll show you how I made this great little layer underneath. And I'm actually going to do 2 cards and just show you a couple different variations. It's going to be the same card, but just a couple different variations of it. Now, before I go on, I just got one more thing to tell you guys, that Stampin' Up also started Celebration. This is like our most anticipated sale of the year. Always very exciting. So for every $50 in merchandise that you purchase, and you don't have to purchase anything that's suggested inside of the Celebration catalog. It can be anything off the clearance rack, the weekly deals, the annual catalog, the spring catalog, anything as long as you hit $50 before shipping and tax, you get to pick a free item out of the Celebration catalog. So there is so many great things in here, so make sure you take a look at all of our stamp sets. I do want to point out that if you're in love with some of the stamp sets here in the back of the Celebration catalog, for example, the Sky is the Limit on page 16, now these are only going to be available up until February 15th. And then Stampin' Up has some new items for us for the Celebration giveaway, I should say, or free items. So I haven't had the opportunity yet to see those. They haven't shared them with us. But let me tell you, we're all very excited and anticipating what's to come. And looking at these offerings, I'm super excited because these are fantastic. So, you know, I mean, they're really doing a great job with things that they're giving us. So take a look there at those items there in the back. So this is the Celebration catalog. It rocks, and I have a lot to show you in the next few weeks with Celebration. Okay, so I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm really excited. It's been a while since I've done a video. Been traveling, and with the holidays and things, it's been kind of crazy. So I am back at it. So here we go. So what we've got here, I've just got some Whisper White cardstock. I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half. As a matter of fact, I'm doing 2 cards for you today. So I'm going to fold both of my Whisper Whites in half at the same time, and so that way we have that portion of it done. Then what I'm going to do is I have some Gumball Green here, and I have Tempting Turquoise. Now, along with my Tempting Turquoise, I have Pacific Blue, a stamp pad, Pacific Blue for my flowers. And so I tried to use a Tempting Turquoise, but it just, as much as I liked it, it was a little too light. I wanted a really bold image. So here I go. I am just going to stamp my little flowers right here on my Pacific Point. I'm sorry, on my Tempting Turquoise cardstock, but I'm stamping my flowers in Pacific Point. And it's very random. I'm not doing anything, you know, in particular. I just kind of want some flowers, some very random flowers along my paper, just like that. And since we're doing two, we're going to stamp them both at the same time. So we're going to kind of move that around, just like that. Let's see here. And we're just going to kind of keep going around with that. And you know, I must say that I need a pierce mat. So hang tight, because as you can see, I forgot my pierce mat and my image isn't great. Eek! So just hang tight with me while I grab my pierce mat. And it is right there. Okay, I'm back. See how nice it is to have all your stuff behind you? It's like, bam, you're gone, and then like, here I am, I'm right back. Okay, I'm back with you. So let's try this again. See, now you guys are like, oh wow, she really doesn't script this and necessarily always have it all in place. I don't, but that's what makes it so much fun, because you just never know. It's quite entertaining. That's how it is always at my house. So anyway, we have our pierce mat now, so we should be good to go with our photopolymer. There you go. So we're gonna stamp our flowers just like we were doing before. And we have a beautiful image here. Very random, just like that. So that looks nice. Now what we're going to do is I have 2 pieces of Whisper White. All the sizes and dimensions will be on brandyscards.com. So no need to, you know, find them here. Just go to brandyscards.com and you'll find in the navigational bar, you'll find a little link that says videos. If you click on that, you should be able to find this project. Also, you can search Grateful Bunch or the Blossom Bunch Punch. And this card should come up. So I'll make sure and tag it for those, so that way you can find it. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this fun little, I don't know what you wanna call this. It's kind of an ornate design. It's a trim, very, very pretty. I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna ink that up in, the gumball green. I'm gonna stamp that here along the bottom. There you go. See how pretty that looks? And so that's just the gumball green along the bottom. And I'm going to stamp this one as well. There you go. So now we have both of our gumball greens right across the bottom. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and stamp my flower. I have my flower already mounted right here. And I'm going to stamp my flower. Now I kind of want my flower to kind of come up along the side here. Just like that. Ooh, that's pretty. See that there? So I'm going to do that on both of my Whisper White pieces. Now you could certainly stamp your greeting first if you wanted to. You know, I just went ahead and I did that first, but either way works perfectly fine. And then what we're going to do is we're going to ink up our You Are Totally Awesome. And I always like to stamp it on my cardstock first, just to make sure that, you know, it's mounted correctly. And also to make sure that the black is really nice and black. So I'm going to stamp that right there, just on my card, nothing crazy. I'm going to stamp another one. So we are just coming along. This looks great. So now what I decided to do was to stamp a couple of my leaves on a separate sheet of paper. Now, I only cut out one of the leaves, one of the whole, you know, the whole branch or in the leaves. I cut out one for each card. So I'll show you exactly what I did, but I am going to stamp 2 just because we're doing 2 cards today. So here we go. Let's go ahead and cut this out. And so now I did leave white along the edges, and I did that on purpose because it's just so much easier than to think you have to cut exactly along on the lines of the, you know, right along the edge of the leaf. It's much harder. So because we're actually mounting this on white, you really can't tell a difference anyway. So that's kind of what I did, is I'm kind of keeping that right along here. There we go, just kind of keep coming around. And so we're just going to kind of keep working on this leaf. Now it really doesn't have to be too perfect because your flower is going to cover this top part anyway. So I wouldn't get too stuck on that because it's not too bad. Like I said, the top part is going to have your flower on the top, so it'll be okay. So there we go. We're just kind of coming around. We've got our leaf cut out. Looks really cute. Now I did just stamp it a second time, but I wanted to just show you the reason why we stamped it twice, because we have 2 cards that we're making today. So I think we're getting close to being done. Now what we do want to do is we want to stamp our flowers. Now let me show you. These flowers, they come mounted in 3. There's 1, 2, 3. What I found the easiest thing to do is take your paper and make sure that you have your bottom 2 flowers at the bottom, and it's kind of level, because that's how it's going to work best in your punch. So let me demonstrate what I mean by that. We're going to stamp straight down and straight up. Again, that's Pacific Point. So there's your flower bunch punch, or your blossom bunch punch, I should say. And in here you can see the flowers. What we're going to do is we're going to turn it upside down. We're going to put our cardstock in here, and you should be able to very easily, especially with this nice Pacific Point on here, you can really easily line it up and then just punch it right out. And so it works beautifully. And so there we have all 3 of our little flowers. Now we're going to take it a step further, and we're just going to go ahead and punch. We're going to punch another set of flowers just to have them, so I can show you what I'm going to do with my other card. And I also need to stamp 1 more set of the Pacific Point flowers, because I think I'm just going to layer it up a little bit and just kind of show you another way to make a fun flower. So here we go. We're going to line this up 1 more time. Let's get it all straight in there. Sometimes it takes a second, and we're going to punch it out. You know, and if you guys noticed, I do use both of my hands. It's not that it's hard, but I find it's harder with one hand. And so if you get it in there and kind of pinch it a little bit so you can grab it and grab that cardstock in there, then use your other hand to really punch that down. So that you're not just kind of relying on one hand to do all of that work. Okay, so I am just going to use the same stamp. The stamp looks great. It's just got a little bit of green, so I'm just stamping it a few times. And I'm going to go ahead and use that stamp. Typically I would clean it, but it appears that I forgot the cleaner. So how many of you guys have done that? I know you guys have done that too, and it's like, oh man. But because, you know, the stamp isn't that dirty, it's not that bad, I'm going to go ahead and use it today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink it up in my Pacific Point. I'm going to stamp it down on my paper, and it looks great. Now, the reason that I'm going to show you this is because I liked this little trim here right behind my cardstock. That is what I'm after. Now, it looks kind of hard to figure out, but it's really not too bad. So what I'm going to do is there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can set your cards next to each other, and you can kind of eye it because you've cut the turquoise cardstock the same size. So we can do it that way, or what you can do is you can take your turquoise cardstock that you're not going to use, or just a sample piece of the same size, set it down on top of your card, and this is actually how I did it originally. I just sort of tapped my cardstock just like this. Do you see that right there? So that basically told me that is where I want to stamp. So I just at that point lined my stamp up on both sides with that spot. So there's one there, and here's one there, and that worked out great. And so now we have the line that we need, and then we're going to put all this together. So we have 2 cards, so we have to do our second card real quick. So there it is. Now if you went ahead and you stamped it down with that piece there, it would be uneven and it just wouldn't look right. So that's why I do recommend you just take that piece away and then just stamp it across your cardstock. Okay, so here we go. We're good to go there. All right, let's start putting stuff together, and I'm going to show you exactly how I did this flower and another fun flower. Plus, I have some other samples to show you. So here we go. Let's glue our turquoise piece down. And I do like using Tombow glue. So you can use whatever kind of glue that you would like. So that's entirely up to you. And we've got that piece glued down. Now we're going to glue our other turquoise piece down. Just a wee bit of glue here on the back. And we're going to set that straight down. Perfect. Okay, so now let's go on to our gumball green. I love this color. It is very springy, very bright and sunshiny. Just makes me happy, this card does. I am just a big fan of those bright colors. There we go. That one's on there, and so let's add one more. And then we'll start to put together our flower. Now I wanted to, when I was playing with this stamp set, there are so many different things that you can do with it really, but I really wanted to get some lift and some pop other than the flower, and that's why I cut out the leaves. So I have Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to go ahead and use my Stampin' Dimensionals and put them on the back of my gumball green cardstock. This is the cardstock that's going to be layered on top of my base. So we'll take our Stampin' Dimensional stickies off. These things absolutely rock. I love them. I find them all over my house, stuck to my socks and everything else. And I know you guys are like, really? Oh yes, always. So what I'm going to do is I wanted to try something different, and I layered this piece here flush with the top of my card. So I'm going to go ahead and find where I want that centered. I think right about there looks perfect. So we're going to put that straight down. We're going to do the same thing with our second piece. I wanted it flush to the top of my card. Okay, so now some of the fun stuff. Now again, I have a leaf here that I've already cut out just to save a bit of time. I'm going to put a little bit of Tombow glue on my leaf here. Now you can certainly take and cut some of your Stampin' Dimensionals, and so if I did that, I would just cut it in half like I just did here. You would cut the Stampin' Dimensional in half. I find it's easier if you cut it in half directly, like right on the contact sheet. And if you want to pop up a few of these little leaves, you can certainly do that this way. And you know, honestly, as far as which leaves to pop up, that's entirely up to you. You know, kind of just depends on where you're planning on putting your flower and all that good stuff. So here, I want my leaves a little bit off center from each other. I don't want them layered exactly on each other, but I do want the stem to be the exact same. I didn't want it to look like there was two stems because it just, I don't know, it didn't look quite as eye-pleasing. So I'm going to set this down. It looks like I have my stem all together here, and you can see that, you know, even the leaves are kind of off a little bit from each other, which I liked because it kind of showed a little bit of life behind it. And then by doing that, now you'll see down here, this is a little off at the very bottom. That's okay because we're going to layer one of the flowers on top of that. So I wasn't too worried about that portion of it. Let's add our other one, our other leaf real quick. And again, I might need to cut a couple more Stampin' Dimensionals. So let's just add a couple of those guys on here. Now, if you are down to the end of your Stampin' Dimensionals, I highly recommend that you use the edges. The edges work great for this kind of thing because they're already a little bit thinner, and all you got to do is just sort of snip them in half. Okay, so let me just take that off, the little backings. There we go. And then we're going to stick this one right down on top. And again, I want my stem to be pretty much the same, but I want my leaves and things to kind of be off, a little bit off of each other so that it gives it a little bit of life. All right, now let's move on to our flower. We're just about done with these two cards. So here we go. We've got the base. This is one of the flowers. Remember, this is one of the flowers that we stamped. If I were you, you could totally use Tombow glue or another type of glue. These mini glue dots, they are perfect for this kind of thing. Absolutely perfect. So I'm going to stick that flower right there. Love that. Then I have the medium size. And yes, I am bending the flowers up. I like to do that. Again, it kind of brings them to life a wee bit. So we're going to use our mini glue dot and stick it right here. Now I'm going to offset my leaf or my little petals. So I'm going to leave that one just like that. Then I'm going to take the little dinky guy, little cute guy, and then I'm going to get another mini glue dot behind him. and add it right next to my stem because I want to cover, I want to cover that offset stem. Stampin' Up has got some great jewel rhinestones. On the back of them are the mini glue dots. So I just used my scissors to grab myself a jewel rhinestone and just stuck it right there on my card. So that one is almost done. I see that I haven't added my rhinestone to the bottom yet. The other one, there we go. Yay, that one's so pretty. I love these colors, and I'm super excited when this video is over to see how the Carolina Panthers are doing. And it just totally reminds me of just that fabulous blue color and just, spring in life. So anyway, I was really excited about that, but we still have one more card to go. So I'm going to show you this. So here is, this is one of the white blossom flowers that we punched from the punch. I'm going to go ahead and take my Pacific Blue ink pad. And this just sort of happened by accident. I was playing one day and I thought, I wonder what it would look like if I took my petals and I just sort of touched them on the edge of my stamp pad. I was kind of looking for another option. Like I said, this was a card that I made for a swap, and I wanted to kind of come up with another fun way to show the ladies another way to do things. So let me just got a couple more to go here on the edges. And let's see, I'm almost done. It's kind of crazy because when you're doing it, it's like you don't think that the flower is that big and round, but it really is. All right, so there you go. And I know this doesn't look like much. You're like, Brandy, what is that? But really, when you layer it up with the other cardstocks, it really turns out pretty. So let me show you. What I'm going to do is the exact same thing that I did with the other flower. As just sort of bend those petals up so it's got some life. We're going to stick it right there, same exact spot as we did the other flower. And then let's see, I'm going to use the big flower again, because when you offset the petals, then you can see a little pop of that blue right behind it. Ooh, see, that's pretty. And so it takes on a kind of a whole different look. And I really liked it, so I thought, maybe I'll show you guys just how fun that is. So here, since we have another little white one, let's go ahead and just kind of touch the petals of our white one. And we're just about done here. It gets a little bit trickier when they're a little bit smaller, but it's doable, trust me. It really is. And so there we go. Cute. Now it doesn't have to be perfect. I just liked it, just kind of as an alternative to stamping. You could just kind of get a little more technique, I guess, in there. And then you have your small little flower. You could either punch another flower to put in the center, or you can put your small little flower right down here. Now, quite honestly, I hadn't made one of these yet in this color, so this is new, and I'm just playing. But I just thought I would, just kind of have some fun with it and show you guys some different ways to do things. There we go. I think it's all done. Oh. I gotta put a little rhinestone on the bottom guy first. There we go. Okay. So that one's all done. You may or may not like this with the extra blue in there, but that's what is fun about creating, is just you can have fun with it. You can switch it up, change up the colors, and just have fun with it. That is what's most important. And try to think outside the box a little bit. As you can see, I really spiced up just the white punched flowers. So let me show you a few of the other cards that I made for my swap. And now all of the sizes, all of the dimensions will be on brandyscards.com, so you'll be able to find all of them there. And I will try to post each one of them so that you can see all the different variations. All right, so this one I just thought was super cute. This one is using actually olive green instead of the old olive, instead of the gumball green. And I thought it was really pretty, but I ended up going to the gumball green because I wanted something maybe a little bit brighter, maybe a brighter pop. So this would be with the gumball, or the old olive. I liked this card a lot. I stamped it in the Melon Mambo, the Tangerine Tango, and then up here, this is going to be your Tempting Turquoise and a Daffodil Delight butterfly. Now the butterfly is stamped twice, and I did cut his little body out because I did like the little black body in there better. So, you know, another fun variation. You'll see I did cut out the leaves again. A little more fussy cutting, but it's so worth it. And this card is like, you know, I am a big fan of pink. I love some pink now. And so you'll see this card, I use the exact same technique as the Pacific Point flower that we just did. This one right here. But I did this one a little different. I actually stamped this one on white, whereas this flower was stamped on the Tempting Turquoise. So the reason I did that is just to show you all these different variations of this one stamp set and punch. So take a look at that. You'll see the pink, I did the edges, stamped the flower on the white versus the Tempting Turquoise. And here in the center, I actually used the owl punch. In the owl punch, there's a dinky little circle, and I think it's for his eyes. So I ended up using the owl punch circle for my center. Again, I've got my butterfly on here. Now, instead of stamping on white, the leaf, I actually stamped the leaf on the gumball green. And that's how I got the leaf there. And I cut that one out to make that card. So that is another fun variation there. Let's see what we have. Okay, so this card I loved, although I almost think I would have liked it better in Old Olive. You can see here I did some fun things. Here I used this stamp here. This is kind of the, I don't know, it reminds me of a sunflower, like a sun type flower, but that's probably not what it is. But anyway, I stamped that flower. And then after I stamped that flower in these various colors, I used the punch to punch out the center. And that's how I got these fun, different layering looks. So again, another variation of this stamp set in the punch. And you'll see this one's You Are Loved a Lot. I just tore the paper down, just very random. I stamped underneath it before I adhered the Old Olive piece. And then I wanted some pop and I wanted a little lift, so I added my leaves in here. And then I added some candy dots, and I think that's it. So, I mean, these are actually enamel dots. These are our new enamel dots. And we're good to go. So that is variation number 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's right. Actually, that's 5. Variation number 5. Well, this one, I think, besides my Carolina Panther card, this one is also, I think, one of my favorites. This one says, Love This Life. And I just thought this one was gorgeous because it pops and it just is another way to use the stamp set. So here, you know, down here in this card, the card that we made today, we actually use the trim right here behind, and we use the trim at the bottom of the Whisper White piece. Here on this card, I use the entire trim. So you can see all the points, and it just really adds a little bit of, I don't know, lace or, I don't know, grass maybe in the card. It's pretty. And I kind of tore this piece, some shabby chic. Then I went ahead and stamped my flowers in 3 different colors. I stamped my stem in green on the cardstock, and then I stamped it on gumball green and cut it out again and kind of layered it all up. Now this card versus this card, this one has the new enamel dots, so they're really shiny and glossy. This one has the candy dots, and these are in your annual catalog, and so these aren't as glossy, but they're still just as beautiful. So lots of options at Stampin' Up, lots of different ways to do things. So if you're if you're a sparkly kind of person, you might go with the rhinestones. You know, if you kind of like things just maybe a little bit more even keel, you might go with the enamel dots. And then if you like them shiny and glossy, well then those the enamels will just be fabulous for you. So anyway, these are all the cards that I made with this stamp set, and I just was really, really excited to go on my retreat this past weekend and meet all the wonderful ladies in Stampin' Up and start forming some training and that sort of thing, and so very exciting to swap those cards. So I hope that you guys enjoy these projects today. I hope that you give them a try. Of course, let me know if you have any questions. Don't forget to watch for your spring catalog. You should have received it by now, along with your celebration catalog. If for any reason you haven't, let me know. But of course, if you have a Stampin' Up demonstrator, please be sure to contact your demonstrator for your catalogs. If you don't, feel free to fill out my catalog request and send me a request for a catalog. I'd love the opportunity to earn your business, answer any questions that you have. So I hope that you guys have a great day, and Go Carolina Panthers! Yay! So thanks so much for stopping by, and I hope you have a blessed day.